regulations to continually propel MCI and its partners forward. In-house departments include
This giving the engineer and the driver the opportunity to make adjustments as soon as the driver comes in. It comes to us in two ways. One,
taking this whole of it, because in his prolific career, thank you, Gordon was responsible for the McLaren M23, driven by such extensive involved in engineering.
Hello everybody, welcome aboard. Anybody got any things that they saw in the garage that they'd like to ask me? And I'll do my best to answer. Got one, Ben.
How many gear changes in the race?
Oh my God. No, don't know. Yeah, well, the biggest single thing is the boost control. These engines are limited to 40 inches of boost. If we were left to our own devices by now, we'd probably have way over 120. So we would be well over 1,000 horsepower if we were allowed to. So that's one control. The other control is we have to get at least 1.85 miles per gallon. And I'm sure we'd be down to about a mile a gallon if we had the freedom to do whatever we wanted.
Are there any advantages or restrictions on the number of cylinders you can have?
Yes, they have to be 8 cylinders. One time you could use less than 8, but the formula for many years has been 8 cylinders. Normal racing technology, 4 valves per cylinder, those sort of things, they're free. There's a weight restriction, 1,550 pounds for the weight of the car. And there's a fuel, sorry?
1,500?
Yes, 1,550. And the fuel tank capacity is limited to 35 gallons, so that we're forced to have 2 or 3 pit stops depending on the individual race. So of course if it's a 500-mile race, perhaps 8 to 10 pit stops.
Can you comment on the data transmission and the telemetry system?
Yes, that enables us to be, while it's out on the track, to recognise the performance of the engine. If it's beginning to deteriorate for whatever reason, tells us a lot about the temperatures, tells us about the tyre pressures, tells us about the steering, so we can recognise if the driver is having an extraordinarily difficult time in one particular corner, or maybe on a bad day, most corners. And we can recognise that in the pits before he comes in, and inevitably his comments will complement what we've seen on the data, and so we're anticipating before he gets in what adjustments we may make to complement the performance.
I believe you're in contact, auditory contact with the driver?
Yes, we can talk to him as well, and it's normal for him to begin telling us, as he does his slowdown lap, that he's got such and such a handling problem, and we're having a conversation about possible solutions as he comes into the pits.
Do you have any bi-directional data?
We're not allowed to control the car from the pits, so we can't have things that will adjust while he's out there. That's not to say we have mechanical adjustments that he can do. In other words, he can change the roll bars, or we call weight jacking. We can move the weight of the car around. Those type of adjustments.
You can do that, or the driver must do it?
That type of adjustment, a mechanical adjustment, he can do. What we can't do is we can't do it from the pits. Yeah. Sorry.
What major improvements that you can share with us in its road engine have been made from last year to this year?
Well, the big improvements began in the middle of last year, where our current engine underwent quite an improvement in horsepower and drivability, and the drivability has continued to increase through the winter and through into this year. We have our own wind tunnel program, so we are continually evolving different pieces for our race car. Sometimes they're very visual. You can see them like a growth on the front of the side pods, and sometimes they're quite small, and if you look closely you'll see little bits and pieces of aerodynamics on our car that are not on other people's.
Does Christian do all the test driving?
No, we very conscientiously share the test driving, and we could on one occasion be looking for a specific experience, in which case perhaps Scott will run 2 days and Cristiano one. Sometimes we're looking to give Cristiano experience of a track we haven't been to, and then perhaps he'll run 2 days and Scott one. So that's depending on the venue that we're testing at.
Francois? What's the lifetime of the engine?
Too short. It's we try to get the engines are generally set up for 350 miles, so that's our target. Normally, circumstances contrive for us not to even attempt that. This particular race meeting, Scott's engine has done about 190 miles, because the the 2 practice sessions and the 2 qualifying sessions have added up to 193 miles. So obviously we need a new engine for the race anyway. It's a 200-mile race and tomorrow morning warm-up. So that's what we would call a scheduled change.
When you come to a race like this, how many chassis and how many engines would you bring with you?
Well, the chassis, we've got 4 complete ready to go, and 2 more as backup in case of accidents. So basically 4 cars that you can see as cars. Engines, we have practice engine and a backup practice engine, a race engine and a backup engine for each driver. So that's 8, and 1 more, so that's 9 altogether available to us.
Are the motors completely hogged out, or are they made out of some standard cast block?
No, these are pure racing engines. They're the interest from Toyota's point of view of racing. There's many aspects of it, but in the pure engineering sense, they learn to push things to the limit in this formula, and sometimes that technology rubs off into their future engines. Quite often a good number of years behind by the time it gets into your road car.
So these are all machined 1 engine at a time?
Well, they have a batch production system, so but the speed of development's so quick that they don't want to do too many in one hit, because by the time we've run them, they'll know they want to change something to make them better next time.
So the most significant thing you'll do to reduce the weight of the engine, will you go to 6 cylinders?
We couldn't do that if we wanted to, because the regulation is 8 cylinders. For, as I say, for some years it's been 8 cylinders. So the big steps will be into composites and things like that, to as well as good detailed design of conventional materials. You'll see gradually more and more composite over the next few years, meaning carbon fibre.
The new engine that I understand is coming in a few weeks, will
Yes.
that be substantially lighter?
That would be lighter and a lower centre of gravity. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
It's a-
just on your data telemetry, do you use an encryption technology to keep it from all the rest?
No.
It's a standard frequency then that you're transmitting on?
Yes.
Is there any advantage to monitoring any other racer?
We've got our work cut out for ourselves, I think. Okay.
Thanks,
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
On the technology side of racing, I hope you have better insight into how technical these cars are and what the demands are on the team. Scott Pruitt. Scott brings a wealth of experience to PPI and Algeria world in the MCI World Pioneer car. And his background is again, the most experienced driver in competing today. He's won everything from karts to GTO, GTP, Trans Am, international racing and champions in car. Along with that, Scott's also worked with some of the biggest corporations in the world. He's represented in engine manufacturers, Toyota obviously, Ford, Chevrolet, Nissan, Porsche, Jaguar, and also worked with partners which are still here today, Visteon, Budweiser, Motorola, obviously Pioneer, thank you guys, and MCI WorldCom. So let me introduce Scott. You obviously qualified very well in that.
Yeah, I have. Does this work?
No, you have to use this one, right?
Have to. Oh.
I'm taking you too.
First and foremost, I'd like to welcome all of you Mitel people here this evening. It's a little bit stormy outside, but hopefully we'll stay dry. It's been interesting for me being involved in racing for as many years as I have, even though I am 22 and a half. Learning and seeing so many things going on. Now first and foremost, looking at the involvement from sponsorships and being involved with Firestone, Visteon. I don't know how many know who Visteon is. Visteon's a $19 billion a year company who goes racing just to teach their engineers how to do things better, but more importantly, to generate those relationships with other vendors, like a Motorola, for instance. You're working on some programs together. They also want to impress other vendors, like a Mercedes, like a Toyota, like a Honda, to sell their wares too. Other companies, it's easy to see why the easy part of it is to see the exposure you get from being involved with a racing team. Being involved with it as many years as I have and with the different sponsors, those who understand how to use it correctly are still here. Oh, there it goes. Those who don't understand how to use sponsorships correctly are already gone because they didn't get the value out of it. There's two values that are involved with it, one of which is the direct exposure. It's the exposure on TV, newspaper, radio, et cetera, that you can see. The other side of it, which actually ends up being more important, and even more so these days as companies look to go global, as companies are looking to downsize, be more efficient, more effective, is to develop at a high-tech industry in the best way that they can. For instance, being involved with Pioneer, for instance, we're currently working on a two-way communications as well as a organic display. The organic display, right now, the display that we see in a car as a driver is pretty old technology. Currently, we are working together to develop a new technology. Two things will happen here. One, it'll give us as drivers a better thing to see, a better display to see and to look at. Second is going to be, Pioneer is going to be in a position to develop something in a very hostile environment, I guess is the best way to put it. We want things smaller, more effective, more efficient, and better all the way around. And those are the sort of things that they can take and introduce to their customers that are directly at the end user. The other part that's really easy to understand is Firestone. A lot of people see Firestone. In the late 80s, nobody knew who Firestone was. Nobody cared who Firestone was. Their product was junk. Their name was bad. They didn't see any opportunity. they were just, as a company as a whole, were actually going downhill quite fast. They decided to get involved in kart. They came up with a program called 345. 1993 was the announcement, 1994 was testing, 1995 was active competition. And that's exactly what happened. I was involved with the conception of the program and all the way through. Did all the testing and development for them in 94, went racing for them in 95, got them their first win at the Michigan 500 in 1995, which was an exciting last lap duel between Little Al and myself. But the thing that you don't see, I mean, you see the exposure, but the thing you don't see is the tires that are developed now are developed through crossover technology from racing. And what I mean by crossover technology is through racing, everything is pushed to the ragged edge. Every piece and part on that car is pushed from the ragged edge. From a manufacturer standpoint, from an engine manufacturer standpoint, from a tire manufacturer standpoint, every piece and part on that car is pushed to the ragged edge. So from that, we're able to take and make things better at a very fast rate. So Firestone was able to take a lot of the concepts and technologies they learned through racing to develop for production car tires for the end user. Not just safer, not just higher performance, but also tires that had better durability with a softer compound that gave all the users a better tire. I mean, when you go out and buy yourself a set of tires nowadays, you don't even hardly think about it. Their problem now is they just cannot produce enough tires. They're to that point. They just cannot produce enough tires. That's the #1 complaint for the last 3 years, because they've been able to take and continually come up with new products and new ideas, and all that came through racing. That's where that whole concept came from. So those are the kinds of ideas and techniques that go on behind the scenes. And that's one of the things that I see so exciting with Mitel. Even though I don't know a lot about your product yet, I do see those opportunities there. The fun part about it is being around people like this, having the opportunity to hang out this evening and a lot of other races, not only with your fellow employees, but also with your customers. It's a very fun environment, exciting environment that's very difficult to get to in any other form of sports. Motorsports is the only place that I know of where you can get right down with the athletes right at the last minute before they go onto the grid, before they go qualifying. You can, as fans, as spectators, you can get right down and see the cars. If you go to NBA, NFL, hockey, any of that, you don't have that opportunity. So from my standpoint, I've been very fortunate to do this now 31 years. I started driving go-karts when I was 8 years old. I know it's hard to believe. I don't look that old, right? I've loved it every year since then. I've learned an awful lot. Had a lot of fun times over the years. Seen a lot happen, and hopefully we'll keep doing it for many years to come. So I'm going to skip out of here right after this because I have another function to go to. But thanks so much for coming, and enjoy your dinner. Thanks.
No. Hello. Thanks, Clayton. Welcome, everybody. I pretty much met everybody here last Thursday. I promise I'm not going to speak as much as Scott did. And no, we're just going through this race weekend here in Toronto. It's good to be with all you guys again. So having dinner again together. We just had qualifying today. I'm just going to speak a little bit about how the race weekend is going. And I spoke with you guys a little bit about my expectations before the race weekend. I want to speak a little bit now how everything is going so far. We started the race weekend, of course, yesterday, Friday. Wasn't such a very good, great day for us, and we had a couple of little problems with the car. We started working our way with the car, correcting the problems. At the beginning of the weekend, we had a little bit too much understeer in the car, and it's a difficult situation here because every time you're on new tires, because the rear tires are still give you a lot of grip when they're new, you have understeer. And the rear tires goes away, you have oversteer. So you're always trying to correct. Most of the times, of course, you're running old set of tires, so you're trying to correct oversteer, and you go for a new set. there is a situation where you're gonna set your fastest lap time, and then you have push. So it's a difficult thing to manage. We've been able to improve the car quite a bit through the weekend. Today I was able to qualify 13th. I'm again close to the top 10, which I think is a good result for us for first year. Of course, there's still a lot of room for improvement. We're a little bit behind pole still, but tomorrow we have a good race car. That situation with the rear tires going off for tomorrow in the race, that's one of the points on the car that we were able to work a lot, and we made that a lot better. Our car is actually being very kind on the rear tires, and we don't have a lot of tire wear on the rear. I think we're actually one of the best. Mine and Scott's car is one of the best two cars on tire wear. I mean, haven't been able to watch everybody so closely, but you know, everybody I watched to it, I think we have one of the best cars on tire wear. So I think tomorrow for the race we're going to have a good race car. Tomorrow morning we have everything ready now for tomorrow morning's morning warm-up. That's going to be the first time we're going to run the car with the tank with fuel load and 35 gallons of methanol in the tank. So it's going to be interesting how the car is going to behave in these conditions, and you know, we're going to have half hour to make a couple of adjustments and go for the race. Tomorrow is going to be a two-stop race. It's going to be 97 laps. We're going to be doing 2 pit stops for tires and fuel. It's a little bit tight on fuel, but I think pretty much everybody's going to be able to make it to the end on 2 stops. And I hope I get many positions and win this thing tomorrow.
Thank you very much, mate. And
All right, thanks, Clayton. All right, thank you.
Just as hard as everybody else. Thanks, guys.
I don't have to wear that.
Happy mission.
Don't want you to Oh, there's Ed. Thanks for joining us. You're all local from here, right? Most of you? I know you're not, but
Worldwide.
worldwide. So, well, we like to look at ourselves as being worldwide as well. We feel we're worldwide in how we race, where we race, and what we try and provide, not only to all of you, but all our partners. I think what the interesting thing about racing is, beyond the fact that it's a global sport, is that it's all about relationships. It's about Scott and Cristiano's relationships with their engineers. It's the engineers' relationships with their mechanics. It's the mechanics' relationship with their management that they work for. It's the hospitality people's relationship with what is required to support our partners and the synergies they create underneath this tent. And it's my relationships and how I try and drum up a budget so that they can all afford to do what they like to do. We've worked hard for 20 years now. We're hitting our 20th year anniversary at the end of 1999, working on relationships with Toyota Motor Sales USA, relationships with MCI, WorldCom, Pioneer Electronics, and many, many others, and of course now our relationship with all of you. What's key to that, and I believe what makes our race team successful, and what I hope you feel provides a successful involvement for all of you, is the relationships that we can create underneath this tent for you to extend your business and extend your own relationships. And it's fabulous to have the opportunity to do this in a great and exciting environment like IndyCar racing. There's really no faster race cars in the world. There's nothing more gratifying to be successful at this. There's certainly, as far as racing goes, not much of anything I've ever competed in that's more challenging or that provides more of an opportunity for self-satisfaction. So I thank you all for allowing us to have a relationship with you. I hope that you're excited about the relationship with us. And I ask that you show up early tomorrow if you'd like to watch one of the most exciting types and styles of motorsport that you've ever seen, and two of the greatest single-seat athletes on earth as they carry your name to the front. Thanks very much, and enjoy your dinner.
Before we are about to have our dinner, I just want to call Glenn up very quickly to something before we have dinner, and just a little surprise for everybody after dinner. So, Mr. Glenn Stanley.
Thanks, Clayton. We talked about relationships this week. Cal, I'm sure Cal's aware. Christian, for sure. We've been in Toronto now since Tuesday night. And it's kind of a question. We've been all around the world. Japan, Singapore, UK, Scotland. Well, Scottish kids are wide awake. South America. It's hard to believe that after 20 years of Mitel Semiconductor, this is the first time that all the executives, all the key personnel of all around the world have got together. And Francois Bordeaux questioned Jeff Crocker, myself, and Kevin Arthur, who had to go back to the UK, how long did it take to get the high performers of Mitel Semiconductor to take Mitel Semiconductor to the next level together in one single spot. And if we got them there, would they get along as a team? And would they socialize together to get to know each other? As Cal mentioned, we're in the high technology field, the same as CART with Cristiano and Scott. Everybody's engineering, everybody's business. Some are more business than others. We put out the phone call, and everybody arrived from around the world, about 42 of us, in about, everything was acknowledged in about 2 days, 48 hours. So the rallying point was Toronto, the rallying point was the CART weekend, and I'd like to say from a business standpoint, it was like the most successful, yet challenging meetings that Mitel Semiconductor's ever put together in over 20 years. And everybody knows exactly what to do from a technology standpoint, everybody knows exactly what to do from a business standpoint, and I'd like to acknowledge on behalf of the management team the presence of every single person around the world and what you're about to do over the next 12 and 14 months. Congratulations. As Cal mentioned, that's an internal partnership, which is business, of course. It's a pleasure and an honor to be associated with people like Pioneer and MCI WorldCom, TRD, and as you can see along the trailer, many more sponsors. Cal and I talked in Portland a couple weeks ago. Who we are, what do we do, what do we want out of the program, what do we want to do in business. We went through every scenario you can imagine about questions about business. And I said, most of all, I want to be a partner. I want to be a business partner. You can help me, and I will help you. I truly believe on the technology side that Mitel Semiconductor, along with MCI, WorldCom, and Pioneer, can change the face of this sport and take this sport to a global level that's never been seen before in any other arena in sports. And I think it's already started with Dave Wells mentioned that one of our customers in LA, Fair Game, who was in Portland, their executives knocked on Cal's door 2 weeks ago for a tour. They were so excited about Mitel Semiconductor and PPI RCO Wells, and certainly Cristiano Damata, that they took it upon themselves to invite themselves to the hospitality of PPI and walked up to the doorstep. That's one thing PPI has to learn about high-tech people. If we see something that we can make money with, we will take advantage of you. So enjoy your dinner tonight. And like I say, on behalf of Mitel Semiconductor, Jeff Crocker, Paul Butcher, who joined us from the UK, who now lives in Canada, which he's not really happy about. He doesn't. Paul hates to come to Canada in January because it's minus 35. Paul arrives in Canada in summer, it's plus 35 with heavy humidity. To come in the spring and the fall. So again, Dave, your crew, on behalf of Mitel Semiconductor, really appreciate it. And the pumpkin shirts look fantastic. And I had a hard time, because it's my first time meeting a lot of people from around the world, I had a hard time finding people in this huge crowd of 100,000 people, but I had no problem finding the orange shirts all day long. So enjoy your dinner, and I'll do a little thing for you later on after dinner. Thanks a lot.